It's important for a manager that players build connections on, and perhaps off the field as well, Paul. In the three Frenchmen that we've got there, you know, obviously Dembele and Edouard scored 2 of the goals. Olivier Ntcham was the man of the match. We know they're great friends. That French connection is really paying off just now.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting in the Celtic TV commentary, Mark Birchall had said that he felt that you have to make Moussa angry. The angrier he gets, he seems to be, he plays, the better he plays. That sometimes there's games where you kind of almost feel like he needs just a wee bit of a push, and he's certainly a big game player. That the manager always talks about him being the bigger the game, and he certainly thrived in that. I think he quite enjoys that physical challenge. I think Ntcham, the more you see him, again, he's another player who just, you can see the potential there, and the manager again spoke about Edouard being one of the best young players that he's ever worked with, you know, and there's real potential there. And I think it helps when these guys, you know, when they're maybe coming to a different country, a different culture, a different club, if they've got some sort of friendship off the park, I think it helps them settle. And the fact that the 3 of them all ended up on the park at the end of the game and all played their part in the victory, I think that helps them as well. I think the 3 of them all headed off to Paris straight after the game as well. So
you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there is that connection, and you know, I say Moussa, when he's on form like that, and we've seen signs of it in recent weeks, then he's such a difficult player to play against, because apart from his skill, physically he's so strong. His goal was brilliant. I think his pass for Edouard, I think, can't be underestimated. With his left foot, first time, just split the defence open, widen it, and he had a great game as well.
Do you think it's an important point, or an interesting point that Paul makes, that Celtic have players the likes of Moussa Dembele who thrive on that pressure, who thrive on that being on the edge, and perhaps going behind as early as Celtic did, going behind again, just spurs on players who play at that level of Moussa?
I think you need a temperament to play in an environment like that and to be able to cope with the pressure that comes with it. I do think you need a certain temperament, not to be suffocated by the pressure, but to embrace it and to use it to your advantage. And I think there's a few players in Celtic's ranks that you could say seem to perform under the spotlight and seem to come into their own. I thought Moussa Dembele was great again yesterday. I think he's proven time and time again. I think even his very first goal for Celtic, he came off the bench and scored in the European qualifier, scored the penalty against Astana to put them through. I think that's an indication very, very early on that you have the requisite temperament to cope with games of that ilk, and if you're going to play at Celtic, you have to have that. I also thought Ntcham I thought Scott Brown was probably the man of the match yesterday. I thought Ntcham was probably a very close second. I thought they were excellent, and I think it's no surprise now that we're seeing the best of Ntcham. Like when he first arrived, he hadn't played a lot of football at all. He'd barely played any first team football before he came, but I think as the season has evolved and he's been more integral to the team, I think he's a phenomenal prospect, and I thought he's a graceful player, but he's also a player, I think, who reminds me, he's come the closest to replacing Victor Wanyama since Wanyama left. He has that physicality, but also a grace and an elegance on the ball and an ability to get forward and maybe to play a pass that other people don't see.